born Edmundo Martinez Tostado in 1923 in El Paso, Texas, Don Tosti was born out of wedlock to his 16-year-old mother, Carolina, and Don Ramon Martinez, who left.
My father and my mother went out for dinner. He used to be a soldier in Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. And my mother was a 15, 16-year-old girl. And they went out for dinner one night, and here I am.
Pues si no voy, vengo del paciente, ve, es un lugar que le dicen El Paso, nomás que de allá vienen los pachucos como yo, Me vine aquí a Losca, me vine a parar garra porque aquí...
He studied various musical instruments, and at the age of 9 became a violinist in El Paso Symphony. He went on to create one of the most authentic songs in Mexican-American history. This is the story of Don Tosti, Pachuco Boogie, and his familia.
But you know, I would go out looking for music, and somebody told me, well, there's a place in San Francisco called Jack's Record Cellar. So I went over to Jack's, and I started digging through the 78s, and so I find these 78s called Pachuco Boogie, and I'm going, man, this is pretty hip.
Este chicano boogie está más loco. Si lo han oído, mano, le puede bailar el boogie.
On my label, Our Huli Records, I've been reissuing a lot of vernacular traditions over the years, you know. But I was especially interested in Mexican-American music because nobody else had been doing any re-releasing of earlier historic material. When Chuy got in touch with me saying, you know, this Pachuco stuff has been sort of overlooked, and I said, yes, it sure has. And we thought this was the time to do it.
We're talking about, you know, the evolution of generations. So the first generation is really, you know, has the la madre, you know, the raíz, the roots from Mexico. And then from there, you know, people began to glean different influences. Swing was very popular, and you know, and people began to hear these things. They were the popular dance rhythms, and as a result, they began to assimilate those. And people like Don Tosti were very important because they began to find these fusions, and for them, it wasn't copying. It really was this very organic mesh of creating these sounds as a form of expression.
There was a guy named Charlie Mingus who was my personal friend, bass player. And I don't know if I surpassed him because he was unreachable, but he admired me and he even studied with me. I was a string bassist. And I was working with Jimmy Dorsey then, who was my best friend when I married my Mexican wife.
Tosti not only listened to swing, but participated in it, playing the bass for the likes of Jimmy Dorsey and Charlie Barnett.
Barnett, come on!
What happened in 1948, the summer of 48, I was working with Les Brown. And we came to do a concert at University of California at Berkeley. My desire and my dream had been to meet my father, whom I had never met. And I got on the phone and I did research and I finally found him.
They were soon united, and Tosti met the whole new family of brothers and sisters.
When he met his father, 27 years later, his father tells him, hey, you have to write your own music and have your own band.
I was a very successful jazz musician and orchestrator.
Yeah.
And my father says, why in the devil don't you have your own band and write songs? I said, I don't write songs, sir. I'm an orchestrator. I'm an arranger. I said, we want to make money. You got to write songs. So I started.
But the music itself, you know, for me being a jazz buff, you know, said a lot. You know, here you had a guy that was Bob Hernandez, who played tenor saxophone on the date, who, you know, idolized Lester Young, and he's playing like Lester Young. You got Raul Diaz, who's scatting, you know, and doing, you know, some great bebop riffs. And you begin to like really see how the music has really got this really important component with it. By finally 78, And, you know, and I took them to KPFA. We had 78 turntables, and I started playing them on the radio. And the thing about it was the calor immediately grabbed people. It was this language that, you know, a lot of the lowriders, you know, of the time, you know, in the 80s were still speaking it. So it kind of gave root to something.
Usted ha de estar más tile que nada ese, porque le suena a usted de aquella ese vato. Simón ese, ¿sabe qué? Ya me agüité ese. Vámonos al rol. Vámonos al rol ese, ya me quería me cantón. Al rol ese vato ese. Ya por...
Calor in Mexico, it's what Pachuco talk is in our country here. It originated in El Paso, Texas. That's why it's called Pachucos are the people who come from El Paso, the kids. Musicians say, those are crazy threads you're wearing, Andres. Pachucos say, ¿qué tacuche tan loco traes?
Es un lugar que le dicen El Paso, nomás que de allá vienen los pachucos como yo, Me vine aquí a Losca, me vine a parar garra, porque aquí está bote de aquella, Aquí se pone bote alerta a todo, Oiga, ¿sabe? Vamos a dar un volteón,
As a result of digging, you know, in collaboration with Chris, we were able to find some fantastic things that really showed that this was just not, you know, this one unique phenomenon to Don Tosti, but that it was a phenomenon of a generation. And I really do believe that this is the missing link, you know, between basically what was the rural music of those madrugadores, which was basically acoustic guitar music, and what would come with Richie Valens and Chicano rock and roll of the 1950s. Pachuco Boogie is the missing link and the direct step to that evolution.
I hope people will enjoy it not as just as nostalgia, but as history, as part of the living history of Mexican American music.
Tosti went on to write over 2,000 songs. He also became a television pioneer, broadcasting his own show for several years in the early 1950s. He lives in Palm Springs, where he is compiling his own anthology of his Pachuco songs.
No toda la cervecita, no ya todo el vinito.
What makes a composer write love songs? The girls, right? I wanted to make money to entertain more girls. So
If you want to listen to the groove of Pachuco Boogie, you can get it or order it at arjuli.com or any of the local record stores that are cool, like